Am I in this?
Now at 5, we're live in downtown Lamar, Missouri for the Lamar Free Fair. We'll speak with an organizer of the event. Plus, the intense heat is putting a strain on some of Missouri Southern's buildings, interrupting events and classes.
A historic mugshot for former President Donald Trump. I'm Natalie Brand with what he's saying about his booking on charges in Atlanta and the changes to his legal team.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The 80th annual Lamar Free Fair is underway in downtown Lamar. The week-long event includes a youth livestock show, a carnival with your favorite carnival foods, vendors of all kinds, a Rotary parade on Saturday, and much more. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll have more on the Free Fair a little later, but first, some of the day's news. A wild Mustang named Trinity is known for healing hearts. At the Circle Equestrian Therapy in Goodman, Missouri, due to this heat, Trinity developed an abscess in his gut. Trinity's owner, Don Newland, believes the heat stressed his system so much that the abscess ruptured.
It was heartbreaking because he died just over here in the pasture, and several of the horses actually came by and checked on him, and they sniff at each other's noses. They get the breath, and they checked his breath, and you could see he's not breathing.
We're told a constant cool breeze and cooling baths are some ways to keep horses cool in the heat. Well, some Missouri Southern buildings and AC units are struggling to keep up with the extreme heat hitting the 4 states on the first week of the fall semester. Some classes were canceled and others held online. Other professors moved their classes to cooler classrooms and buildings. Welcoming events also had to be relocated.
It was terrible. I've sweat through my shirt almost every day I've lectured in this building so far. I'm a sweater anyways, so I'm kind of used to it. But here in Reynolds Hall, at least, it definitely got balmy up to, I'd say probably 79, 81, something like that. And then humidity has been just out of control.
A lot of my classes are full, so we have all 48 seats are full, everyone's in the class, and it's really cramped space, and since the ACs aren't working either, it gets pretty hot.
The university is also adopting other strategies to make sure students are healthy inside and out. Besides adding fans to some classrooms and dorms, they're also offering free water bottles on campus. Some professors in the biology department also had to make sure snakes and other animals were not overheating. For that, they added ice blocks in the cages. Well, it definitely is a hot day for fairgoers here at the Lamar Free Fair today. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us.
Yeah, you've drugged me out here in the heat as well to suffer right alongside you. And of course, all the 4 states have been suffering this week with the heat, but there is relief on the way. Let's take a look right now at some of the temperatures. And as we go through, you can see this afternoon temperatures were very, very toasty across the area. In fact, I think the hottest day this week so far in Joplin with 101 right now, 102 in Garnett, 102 down in Bartlesville, and lots of hundreds to go around for everyone. But there is some moisture in the air. We've seen some thunderstorms in the distance in and around the area, and those thunderstorms are going to be increasing as we go through the weekend. In fact, let's zoom in on the radar. You can see one thunderstorm up near El Dorado Springs, northwest of Stockton, to the north of Lamar. Shouldn't have an impact on the fair here tonight. This evening, we're going to see temperatures dropping through the 90s to about 76 degrees by tomorrow morning with mostly muggy conditions. And looking down the lane, we have some thunderstorms tomorrow evening and also Sunday morning. But look at that, much cooler next week. But unfortunately, Tanya, I'm the bearer of bad news. The heat wave may be making a comeback in our forecast. And I'll tell you all about that in just a bit.
I don't want to hear about that.
I don't want to tell you.
Let's talk about the cool temperatures.
Let's do.
Because it's too hot right now.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Sam. Well, young exhibitors from all across the area are showing off their prize livestock today. Today, these kids showed off their wool-coated companions and were tested on their knowledge. We got to hear from one of the champions of today's show.
I'm very competitive. Honestly, I have both my on years and my off years. This year has actually been surprisingly really well. I took a break last year for the most part where it wasn't that competitive. I just showed a couple animals. But this year I'm back in it head on.
We'll hear more from Caitlin and other area kids later this evening. Well, former President Donald Trump is fundraising off of his historic booking photo after surrendering yesterday to authorities in Atlanta. Former president and 18 others are charged with criminally conspiring to overturn Georgia's 2020 presidential election results. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington, D.C.
It's former President Donald Trump's fourth criminal indictment, but his first time having a mugshot taken.
What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
He arrived at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta Thursday to be booked on charges that he and 18 co-defendants schemed to reverse his 2020 election loss in Georgia.
We have every right, every single right, to challenge an election that we think is dishonest, that we think it's very dishonest.
In an interview with Newsmax, the former president called his booking a terrible experience, but it hasn't kept him from selling mugshot merchandise on his campaign website. He also returned to X, formerly known as Twitter, for the first time since being banned in January 2021. He posted his booking photo, writing, quote, "I will never surrender our mission."
While Trump is fundraising off this latest indictment, he's also taking the Georgia charges very seriously. His legal team now includes Atlanta-based lawyer Stephen Sadow, who specializes in high-profile defense cases.
CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman has tried cases alongside Sadow.
When he speaks, believe me, you turn and listen. In terms of strategy, he is also aggressive.
Overnight, former Justice Department official Jeffrey Clark was among those who turned themselves in ahead of a deadline today. The 19 co-defendants could be arraigned as soon as next month. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis has proposed a trial date on October 23rd, but for now, that just applies to one defendant. Trump's legal team is opposed. Still ahead, health officials nationwide see an uptick in COVID cases. And next, we'll interview the organizer of the Lamar Free Fair to learn what the event is all about. Welcome back. Again, we're out here live at the Lamar Free Fair. This is the 80th year for this annual fair, and I'm joined here by fair organizers, brothers Terry and Ed. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Tanya, for coming. Why'd you have to bring Sam along?
Well, we needed to do the weather too.
Yeah.
And advise everybody that, yes, it is very hot. What's your best advice for people coming out here in the heat?
Dress cool, drink lots of water. This is probably, and we've been doing this 56 years, and I don't remember it being the humidity, the heat index. We've had a lot of 100-degree days, but I think this is the worst. So,
it's definitely not cool out here. Let's talk about all the activities that you have that are going to be kicking off here in just a little bit.
Okay, tonight, of course, we're strictly a night fair, and about 6 o'clock, the rides get going. Of course, tonight's Lamar's first football game, and we've got a pretty solid football game again this year, but a lot of the kids won't even be out here probably 9 o'clock tonight because of the weather.
Yeah.
But they'll be lined up on those rides over there. As far as other activities going on, most of the livestock show ended today. The beef show, the swine and the hogs, and mainly it's just the rides and the carnival.
And that stuff's tonight. Tomorrow you've got a big parade.
We have one of the largest parades in the state of Missouri. It'll last probably, we compete with Maple Leaf.
Of course. What time is the parade?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Yeah. 2 o'clock. Anything you want to add about that?
It's about an hour-long parade. It's no cost to enter it. The Rotary Club puts it on, and they've done it for years.
Rotary Club also sponsors our Queen contest, which was held 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And but all of the girls will be in the parade. Maybe I don't know, with the heat, how they'll be dressed.
Likely it'll be a little bit cooler tomorrow. That'll be nice. We're going to have more details about the fair coming up in our 6 o'clock show. For now, thank you so much for joining me, Terry and Ed. Thank you. All right. A little later, how a rise in COVID cases nationwide is impacting schools and businesses.
Welcome back to Lamar, Missouri, where we are coming to you live for the KOAM News at 5. You know, they say you save the best for last. Well, I think we saved the hottest for last this week with temperatures well over 100 degrees across the entire area. Let's take a look outside right now at Seneca, Missouri, the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. You can see some thunderstorms in the distance, so that kind of gives us some hope of some rainfall as we head towards the weekend, and also some cooler temperatures. But take a look at the high today. 101 in Joplin after starting out at 76, and of course that's way above the normals of 89 and 67. And that actually tied the record for today, set back in 1983, and you can see the record low, 53. We're going to get into the 50s as we head into the forecast, so that's something to look forward to. We also have some thunderstorms on radar up to the north and east of Lamar right now. We have a storm in and around the El Dorado Springs area, north of Stockton, and it's kind of stationary right now, but there are a few lightning bolts with that. We also had other showers down to the south, east of Chatopa, between Chatopa and Baxter Springs, and also to the north and east of Welch, but that's starting to die off just a little bit. Taking a wider view, you can see scattered thunderstorms across the area, but we're also in an excessive heat warning, and that will go until tonight at 10 p.m., and then hopefully that will be the end of the excessive heat warnings as we go into the weekend. Right now, though, temperatures are very, very cool up in Iola, where it's only 83. That's because of some rain-cooled air. But check out Independence. They're still 101 right now, 100 in Neosho, and Lamar, it's 99, but it sure feels like it's a lot hotter here in Lamar. In fact, look at the dew points. It's 78 degrees in Lamar right now, so that is definitely soupy air. You can almost cut it with a knife out here. And as a result, our heat index is way up there. We're looking at heat indexes of around 107. Right now is what it feels like in Lamar, 112 in Grove, so it could be worse. 112 also in Veneta, and 109 in Nowata. Now, as we go into tomorrow, it's not going to feel as hot. We're still going to be in the low 100s in many places, but at least the temperatures are going to be down, and also we have a chance of scattered showers and storms. In fact, looking at the precipitation chances, you can see they kind of uptick a little bit as we go into the next 36 hours, and not much rainfall is expected with these thunderstorms. They're going to be widely scattered around. Some places could pick up a quarter of an inch, maybe a third in some lucky spots. But we have to wait for this ridge of high pressure to shift off towards the west, and as it does so and sets up over the Rocky Mountains, that's going to allow a low pressure to develop and move into our area, bringing with it some showers and storms and much cooler air as we have northwesterly winds aloft, bringing in some Canadian air and also some drier air. So the forecast tonight, mostly fair and mild with scattered showers and storms around, lows in the mid-70s. Then as we head to tomorrow, it's still going to be warm, but at least not in the hundreds. We're going to be seeing temperatures in the upper 80s and lower 90s with scattered thunderstorms around. Then as we go into Sunday morning, we're going to see those scattered thunderstorms still mainly to our south with lows in the 70s, even some 60s showing up. Then Sunday afternoon, look at that. 80s, low 80s for highs with northeasterly winds, and it only gets better from there because look at Monday morning, lows in the lower 60s, and then as we go into the 7-day forecast, you're going to love this. 82 for a high on Wednesday with lows in the 50s. That's definitely opened the windows and enjoy the drier and cooler air, Tanya. We could use it tonight, but we just have to wait a little bit longer.
Oh, it would be nice to have it tonight. I'm literally dripping of sweat right now.
I don't have a cold pack for you, but maybe we can rustle up one.
We'll make it.
All
Drinking
right.
lots of fluid, and that's what we
That's
recommend
right.
everybody
Yep.
to do.
Absolutely.
That's coming out here tonight for sure. All right, thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
Well, topping today's Health Watch, COVID-19 numbers are ticking up nationwide, including hospitalizations, outbreaks, forced school closures in Kentucky and Texas. Michael George takes a look at the numbers and how to protect yourself.
Instead of handing out homework, multiple school districts in Kentucky are handing out COVID tests.
A lot of them are testing positive that we don't know about, but the ones we do know about, it's a significant number for McGoffin County.
Schools closed in at least 2 counties in Kentucky, as well as a small district in Texas, with students and staff out sick.
It was a no-brainer that it was in the best interest of keeping everyone safe.
The number of COVID cases is edging up nationwide. Hospitalizations jumped more than 21% in 1 week this month.
Hospitalizations are up because COVID transmission is up, but who's actually getting sick enough to end up in the hospital? It's the elderly. So really, people 70 and up are driving most of that, almost the entire increase that we're seeing in hospitalizations right now.
A Hollywood studio and some academic and hospital settings are requiring masks again. Health officials say while that's not expected to become a widespread practice, high-risk individuals may want to consider wearing one. Updated COVID boosters will be available mid-September, once the FDA signs off and the CDC sets eligibility guidelines. The annual flu shot is out now and best taken in October. You can get both at the same time. Experts say if you do test positive for COVID, the best practice still stands.
If you're able to stay home until you test negative on a rapid test for COVID, that would be the ideal.
The CDC expects this trending uptick to continue into the fall. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Coming up, the head of the Federal Reserve gives his thoughts on whether interest rates will be rising again.
I don't know what's that.
Topping today's Consumer Watch, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has indicated interest rates could go up again to curb inflation. Powell made the comments today during an annual address to policymakers in Wyoming, saying the Fed is prepared to raise rates further. He says the hikes could be needed to bring inflation down to the Fed's 2% goal.
Although inflation has moved down from its peak, a welcome development, it remains too high. We are prepared to raise rates further if appropriate and intend to hold policy at a restrictive level until we are confident that inflation is moving sustainably down toward our objective.
The Fed raised its key interest rate by 1/4 percentage point in July, bringing rates to a range between 5.25 and 5.5%. That's the highest it's been in 22 years. Powell says the Fed will pay close attention to economic growth and the state of the labor market when making policy decisions. Battered Wells Fargo is dealing with 2 new complaints from regulators and customers. The Securities and Exchange Commission is accusing the bank of overcharging almost 11,000 investment advisory accounts. It says Wells Fargo billed about $27 million in extra advisory fees due to data inaccuracies. The bank is not admitting or denying the issue, but it's paying a penalty and says it has reimbursed affected customers. American consumers are becoming a bit more cautious with their spending. The latest consumer sentiment numbers from the University of Michigan were slightly lower at 69.5 in August compared to July. That's in line with what economists were expecting. Consumer sentiment has been higher in the past 3 months, but it seems that those gains have leveled out. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, Steve Hartman meets a bus driver who taught some of life's best lessons on the way to school. At 6, we'll have more on how Missouri Southern is dealing with some buildings struggling in the intense heat. Plus, Kansas confirms multiple cases of West Nile virus in horses across the state. And it's the first night of high school football in Missouri. Sports Director John Dales will be live at the Lamar High School football stadium with a preview of their matchup against Marshfield. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then at KOAM News at 6. It's hot.
It's very hot. I mean, I thought we could handle it. You know, I was getting a little worried because the police showed up and I thought, did someone put out a warrant for my arrest? I mean, it's just been so hot, but we do have some relief in sight, and that's good news. The weekend looks great with temperatures falling down into the 80s, even the 50s for morning lows as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. So open up the windows, enjoy the nice week ahead. I wish we had a little bit more rain in the forecast, but maybe we'll get to that a little bit later. But at least the heat is gone for now.
Except for tonight. It's very hot. So
yes.
If you're coming out here tonight, stay hydrated. We're going to be out here for
That's
our
right.
live show at 6, so make sure you stick with us too. Well, thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6 We'll see you then. Have a great evening.